Hi, Laura. I like double arrangements. Try again?
Hello.
Yeah, it was me. My bad.
It was me.
It was me. It was one of those things where I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Not it for once ever.
Nose goes. That's right. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like, this kitchen table is one of those bar stool style tables.
Yeah.
And
Like a high top?
but like it cuts my head off if I have the stupid laptop on the top of the table. So I'm like,
You need like a little booster seat.
once again, story of my life with booster and
Dude,
all. Your
me
hair
getting
looks
on,
good.
that's right. Me getting on top of that, like, it's a bent over row thing,
Oh,
technically.
is it?
Yeah, but I do it for my lateral raises so I can like bring my chin back so I can take off the pressure from my traps and my levator because was having some neck issues, so I can just do the rear delts, which is why I do that. But I literally like have to like run and jump and yeet myself on top of it. I'm like, I wonder if this is what Laura feels like on just like a normal
Hmm.
bench,
I
just like
thought you
trying to
were
yeet herself.
I thought you were doing one of those hyperextension machines. Do you know the swing one?
No, it wasn't a hyper, it was for my rear delts.
Did you lengthen those extensions?
I did get new hair, but this is still my length, right?
That's
Like,
your real hair length?
yeah, so it's like a combination of the extensions because the extensions are up here now, not like way
Wow.
down here where my
You
old
got
extensions
past your
were.
tits hair length? Look at
I
you.
know, I know. It's like mermaid hair. Thank you. I
Yeah.
graduated from 18 inches to we're now doing 24 inches.
That's what I mean. Okay, so those bad boys are long.
Yeah. So it's like, ah,
Oh, oh,
boop.
oh.
So I'll probably have to use my other extensions when I compete because obviously when you are competing, you don't want your hair to touch your suit or the tops of your glutes because that's not a
You
good
just
look.
trim them a little bit. They're like just a little bit too long.
Do you know how fucking expensive extensions are? I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
trimming these
Oh yeah.
because, well, you pay by the gram of hair. So if you cut the extensions, you're
She
just,
doesn't trim them when she puts them in your head though?
she does, but like, Laura, they're like $1,200. Like every like gram that you take off is like $100. You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what brand you use?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what brand I use.
No, I'm
It's
asking because I like they look nice.
oh, my hairstylist, she takes care of me. I do not know. I could ask her for you, but I have I take really good care of my extensions. And so the 18-inch ones, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them back in when I compete, so that way I don't have to cut my new ones because they're
Mm.
a pretty fucking penny. And like I don't want to cut them because they're expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'll ask my hair lady, but I really like the extensions. I do. She does a really good job. So if you guys are local in Charleston, it's Julie at Eden West. She actually owns her salon.
Hmm.
I was with her
And
when she was at a different place. Don't even remember. It was like Canva, I think, Canvas on King, and now she owns her own like studio and her own salon. So I've been with her for 6 years, I think.
no,
Yeah,
a long time. That's a long relationship.
it is. Like I was with her when she was like newly married or like freshly married and then, like when she had a baby. So like her daughter, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to like give out her personal information, but like I was with her when she was pregnant with her daughter and then like now her daughter is going to be 5 this
Oh,
year.
wow. Lifer.
I know. I'm like if I ever move, I'm going to make sure that I come back here every like 8 to 10 weeks just so that way she can take care of me cuz like she does such a good job.
That's key, honestly, to have a hairdresser that you have that good of a relationship with.
Yeah, I mean she's such a sweetie doll. Like she was literally with me for my first competition. Like I remember that I was at a hair appointment and I literally had to check in with my coach because it was like getting down to the wire where we were like wanting to do like after meal updates. So I like ate a meal, she was doing my hair, and we went upstairs where there was no one else. And I like literally took pictures of myself in a fucking bikini with like my hair up, and she like took the photos for me. So this girl has been with me. So I absolutely love her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We should have her come on the podcast and be like, can we talk about what Ashley was like before to what she's like now?
Dude, she took me from blonde to black. Like,
Mm.
talk about talented. Like, obviously, again, we didn't go from blonde to black like immediately. Like, we had to go from blonde to like this really fugly red orange to brown. And then, like, as I grew into what I wanted to create for my outward appearance, I was no longer like vibing with brown. And so we eventually went from like a chestnut brown to like dark, deep black, 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 black. And now we actually have long hair, which most of it's real, but some of it's, yes,
I'm
extensions.
sure your hair grows a lot better now than when it was my color.
Imagine that. Because, well, one, yeah, I stopped fucking washing it every day. And two, I stopped, eating the if it fits your macros and stressing about dumb shit. Like, I'm telling you,
Yep.
like, your hair will grow better if you eat properly and you stop, like, stressing about small stuff.
Yep. That's actually something my hairdresser always says to me. She's like, I'm really surprised for, I have very fine hair, but she's like, for a
Yeah.
blonde, like your hair feels great. And I'm like, that's because I've actually been eating well for the last 2.5 years. This is the longest stretch I've ever had.
And minding my goddamn business.
That's right.
It's like, oh, it's like Gretchen Wieners. Why is her hair so big? It's full of secrets. Oh my
Correct.
goodness. Oh my goodness. But all is good. I am sorry about your grandmama, but how's your mama?
She seems pretty good. We
Good.
had the funeral on wait, what's today? Tuesday. And it, not to sound like morbid, but it was like almost comical because it's 23 degrees here and like windy as hell. So like there was a rabbi, obviously that end of the family is fully Jewish. And
Yeah.
he's like, so we're gonna do what we have to do, but we're gonna do as fast as we have to do it. And
The
we're like,
rabbi did like a flyby. Just
literally, literally, it was like an in and out. Like my niece is there. I want to go to the car. I want to go because like the whole thing was outside. We didn't do like a sit down ceremony or anything indoors. They just wanted to like get to the point, in and out. We're gonna do a celebration of life like
well, that's
towards
good.
early in the summer. Um, that
Yeah.
was when her birthday is too. So, but no, my mom seems pretty good, honestly. It was weird. My mom is always weird with these things. She doesn't shed a single tear. I'm
Mm.
like, I think you should. Maybe you feel like some relief, but
No, I
teach us.
get that. I mean, I didn't go to my grandma's funeral when like I mean, I went to my adopted grandma's funeral, but I wouldn't go to my biological grandma's funeral because like the cost was astronomical due to like flights and stuff. And I wasn't able to make it. And like I didn't cry when she like passed away, and I didn't cry like after the funeral was done, even though like I got to see like the little leaflets or whatever. It was like a couple of days after everything was kind of said and done, and Eric was like, "You haven't like cried or really showed emotion or anything. Like, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm okay." Like it's weird to think about. And then like I was thinking about it, and I did finally start to get a little worked up when I had a friend ask me, she was like, "What's one thing that you love about your grandma?" And I was like, "The fact that she just loved to laugh." And that's something that my dad loves to do is he loves to laugh and he loves to make other people laugh. And that's probably something that it passed down to me. I love making a fool out of myself so other people laugh and smile, and then I get to laugh at myself. But the ability to produce laughter and to make people laugh, like that is something that is so pure to me because it is just so inherently good that even if it's like laughing at something dumb that I did or something dumb that I said, but it still makes you chuckle. Like I love that shit. Like it
I
just feels
remember when we
so good.
first met, you saying something like, you're like, my husband loves me because I'm funny, but gets mad at me because he knows I'm funnier than him, or something like that.
Dude, legit, if I can make you laugh like on within like 5 minutes of talking, especially within 5 minutes of meeting, like that's an accomplishment for me because like especially if you're shy, it can be sometimes hard to open up, but it's like if I can make you laugh, no matter if it's at my expense or something that we both find
Mm.
funny, like that to me is a win.
Yeah, most of the time people are laughing at me, not with me. I'm just one of those people that kind of unintentionally brings humor.
Dude, that's kind of the best though, because like if you can laugh at yourself, I mean,
Oh
that
yeah.
to me is really powerful because that tells me that like you have a sense of humor, but you also don't take yourself too seriously. Because if you can't laugh at yourself and like your weird abnormalities, like dog, Like it's
Mm.
just like it's not that serious. Like there's so many things that I do that I get worked up over that I'm like, is it really that serious? No. But it at the end of the day, it's like if you can laugh about it and move through it, you're kind of untouchable. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Jewish funerals are interesting too. I think that I don't know if it's like an intentional thing or like religious beliefs behind it, but
Yeah.
there's no like open coffin type thing
Mhm.
to like actually see the person. So I feel like when you have that, that you're like looking at the person you lost, because I've also been to other funerals that was the case. I think it's a little bit more real if you want to like
Could you like
say.
see her?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know if I honestly don't know the actual reasoning behind it, but I don't know if it's to like make it a little bit easier for those losing a direct relative or what, but
Hmm.
doesn't feel as real.
Look it up. I'm curious. Why? I mean, I don't like how I searched it because I searched why don't Jews have open casket funerals? But although some may find it therapeutic, in Judaism, the funeral is for the most part devoted to the respect and honor of the deceased, while the period of mourning that follows is primary for the benefit of the mourners. In fact, one is not supposed to comfort the mourners while their dead still lie before them. Comfort and relief come later, after funeral and burial arrangements that have been completed and the dead have been interred?
Yeah, me.
Interred? I don't know. I don't know how to read words. Interred. Thank you. So yeah, I think it's like it's the Talmud. Talmud.
You're about as Jewish as I am.
Yeah. Okay. Hey. Essentially, it's like it's forbidden to gaze at the face of the dead. So it's kind of
Mm,
like it's just out of respect for your grandma to like
mm.
allow her to have.
I feel that if I'm dead, I wouldn't want everybody looking at me. I said to Josh, I was like, listen, I don't want any of this. Just like burn my body and scatter me in like Fiji or somewhere like cool. He's like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can. Yes, you will.
Dude, I'm with you there. It's like thinking about like I'm someone that doesn't handle death very well, but it's like thinking about like my end of life. It's like I don't want to take up space. I want to give back. Like I get geeked out over the Lion King and Circle of Life. It's like I don't want to just like be buried in a hole in the ground and like pollute the earth. I want to somehow like be a part of the earth. So it's like if you can just grind me up to dust and like fertilize some flowers, put me into a tree so I can grow, like that to me is how I want to like rest, you know?
Wow, we went dark
I
real quick.
know. I mean, listen, it's like we're friends, we're chatting, right? I know it's not our topic today. Our topic today is communication, but we are doing a communicate.
Now we know what we're looking for. Hopefully, neither one of us need to handle that for one another. But
I got your back. Hey, listen, if Josh drops the ball and doesn't scatter to you on Fiji, I'll take a little bit of your ashes and sprinkle it on my booty, just like a little bit of growth, and then I will take you to Fiji and
take
do it
them.
for free. I'll be a little bit of Laura on my glutes to grow. Even though I'll be like 90 and you'll be 100, so it'll be like, I want to make sure that this is like, how it's like the like collagen or whatever, just sprinkle the collagen of Laura
Mhm.
into my butt.
There we go. There we go. Hey, listen, whether I'm not competing anymore or whatever, I'm working for these and I'm keeping them. That's it.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
That's
But
it.
the only thing that we can't grow is like titties. Like
That's why we
titties.
bought hate wins.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But dude, I don't know about you, but I know because you have worked with a coach and then you kind of did self-coach and now you're kind of like working with Josh, but also still coaching yourself. But have you ever had a time where you struggled to feel like you couldn't communicate with your coach because
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like but did you ever say the thing like I don't want to bother them?
That was my last coaching experience. That's why I didn't stay, to be totally honest. I
Yeah.
really liked them. I felt they were very knowledgeable, but I felt like such a bother and just wasn't comfortable that I just didn't feel as though I was able to perform what I needed to as the client,
Hmm.
um, as well as I would have liked. And honestly, some of that is on me too. At this point, it's been over a year, but that I should have communicated better. But at the same time, every coach offers different things, and this is just kind of my personal opinion. You can
Yeah.
give me yours too. I feel like the old school of solely emailing your coach is a little bit disconnected with emotion as far as like I let my clients on WhatsApp like yes please send me a like proper formal check-in and all that blah 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 but like if something happens and if they say something in a check-in that I feel like is like very emotional or whatever like I will take the time to like either send a video or a voice recording or whatever that feels more personal so it doesn't come across any way other than which I'm intending it to
Yeah.
but two, also for them to feel like more connected and open and comfortable with me.
Yeah, I think it's important when you're looking, if you're talking as an athlete or as a coach, when it comes down to communication, because at the end of the day, it boils down to trust and respect on both parties. And having that like barrier be broken when it comes to like being afraid to bother your coach. Because on one hand, yes, it's good to respect your coach and respect their boundaries if they have working hours or if it's not your check-in day and you have a question that can wait until your check-in day. Like, absolutely. But when it comes to training videos or maybe a quick question that does have a little bit of urgency, like being like confident enough in your coach's ability to know when to respond. Because if you make the decision for your coach of, oh, I don't want to bother them, you are already making the decision. Like your coach can't even begin to fucking help you and communicate and solve the problem, which granted might be so fucking easy to solve, but you are breaking the teamwork aspect by already deciding that this isn't worth your coach's time. And again, it does take some self awareness on your end because it's one thing to be like, a silly question that you kind of already know the answer to, that you're like, okay, this is not urgent. And so I can wait for a check in versus like, hey, this has like a time limit on it. Like, I'm panicking. I need some help. And then to not just communicate because like, oh, they're too busy. It's like, if you're paying for your coach's time and their contract or services is like, you have me via WhatsApp or you have unlimited email access or however the fuck it's phrased, you need to utilize that to your benefit. That does not mean you need to take advantage of it. But if you're having a problem, your coach does not know you're having a problem unless you communicate, right? So it's important to do that respectfully and effectively for your success and for your benefit of, again, this relationship dynamic with a coach.
There's a big difference too about communicating with your coach about something that is pertaining to your programming, what they're asking of you, et cetera, opposed to just trying to chit chat and make happy talk with your coach,
Mm-hmm.
which again, as a coach, I would love to have the time to do that with all of my athletes. But also to the athletes that I need to actually pertain to what they're asking that regards to all the things I'm asking of them, it's an unreasonable ask. So like just being able to navigate that too is difficult from a coach's perspective because you
Sure.
want everybody to be happy and like you and all of that, but those boundaries are also sometimes a little hairy.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing where it's like I understand it's weird because as a coach, it's like we put ourselves on social media, so there's kind of like that parasocial relationship forming where they think they know us, when in reality, they know what we want them to know with what we post or what we talk about on podcasts. And some coaches are more open than others, and that's fine. Like that's how they want to present themselves and their brand on socials and on the internet. But at the end of the day, like just because you're talking with a coach in their DMs, like that doesn't mean that you guys are friends. Like I have clients that have been with me for 3 years. I would consider them a friend at this point because of all the life experiences that we have gone through. But that doesn't mean that I take advantage of them and no longer coach them. I will be just as hard, if not harder, on them because of the fact that they have shown me through their work ethic, through that relationship that was developed. But especially when you're early on with a coach, it's kind of like when you date. It's like hopefully you don't have such an anxious attachment style where you just within like a week of getting to know your coach, because that time and that trust, it takes steps to build, right? And that starts with open communication and honesty, but you have to fiddle the dials between like what is relevant to my coaching service that will help me to reach my goal versus what is just a blatant overshare that I should save for a true friend, a significant other, shit, maybe a fucking therapist. Like those are things that you have to take into consideration as a client
Yep.
because when it comes to your coaching agreement, like it does need to be within the scope of practice. Not that we don't want to help, but sometimes the best things, the best way to help is to refer or redirect because we're not equipped to deal with like everything, even though, you know, you may think highly of your coach and trust your coach and think that they're the smartest fucking person alive. That's very nice, but chances are just because they're smart in the realm of coaching, not necessarily like, you know, therapy or intense trauma or even maybe intense medical stuff where it's like you're thinking like, okay, you actually do need to go see like a fucking doctor.
Which I feel like is so underplayed nowadays. All of a sudden, we're all expected to be fucking miracle doctors.
Dude,
And
it's
a
so
lot of,
fucking overwhelming.
you know, I'll speak openly about this. When I worked for Jeff, I felt like no matter what came at me, I was supposed to be qualified to figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And since I have gone on my own, and this wasn't necessarily not him making me feel that way, me just wanting to live up to that expectation. And since going on my own, I've had a lot of things that have come my way, and honestly, even integrative approaches to gut issues or whatever the case may be that I'm saying, hey, listen, like, I think you need to see your GI doctor. I do
Mhm.
think that we can work collaboratively together. Like, some of this can be covered by your insurance. I shouldn't be the only one helping you with this. Like, this is why we have health insurance. This is why we have healthcare systems. If you know that you have a good doctor that's willing to collaborate, like I've even emailed back and forth with physicians before. Um, that's the best possible scenario.
Absolutely. Like as coaches, is like we have good intentions of wanting to help you, but we do not diagnose. We cannot legally treat. We can help. We can assist. So our vocabulary is very important. But at the end of the day, like what we're trying to do is we're trying to help you, the client, master the fundamentals and the basics with your nutrition, with your training, with supplementation, with how to schedule and organize to make sure that you are a successful human being. Like I don't want to say we're moms and dads because we're not, but we're trying to help your perspective to make you a healthier individual. And then once we have your baseline health, then we can absolutely be addressing, you know, hardcore physique goals, bodybuilding aspirations, strongman, powerlifting, like whatever your athletic goal is. But like the way that I coach, and I know Laura can be very similar, is like a lot of it is again habit stacking, where it's you're starting with the fundamentals and the basics and then as needed, dialing up the intensity. But first, our direction needs to be pointed north before we step on the gas. Because if it's not pointed north and we go from like 0 to 100, okay, we might be fucking in reverse and we're wasting so much goddamn time. And I'm going to own the fact that I was so into the functional health shit where I was missing the forest in the trees. I got so sucked into the hype, the protocols, the Dutch test, the shit kits. I missed out on the ability to actually coach and I wanted to play doctor and I fucked up. I fucked up a lot. Not that I hurt people, but I overcharged, over supplemented, and I just missed the fucking point. I don't do that shit no more. Now, if you're a functional case and you are ready to handle intense protocols, I still expect you to earn it by making sure you're not a hot mess express up here and that you're not burnt the fuck out with coaching. But again, it's these steps that you were earned. In the same way I would treat someone who wanted to use PEDs. We start here, we take you to build up here. But it's so important if you want to get up here, one of the fundamentals is communication with your coach. Making sure you're not lying to us, making sure you're not holding back information, making sure you're not fucking afraid to talk to us. And granted, this is where I get angry at past Ash because I trusted you trusted coaches enough to pay them, but yet I was afraid to talk to them. And that starts with me. That starts because I had no confidence in my own ability to communicate and stick up for myself. But that's something you need to work on. Because if you're withholding information or how you feel, especially about your coach's programming or protocols, but you don't speak up for yourself, it's like that's on you.
I would say too, on the flip side of that, they're within the coaching industry, and granted, there are a lot of great coaches that are very empathetic, nice, compassionate, etc. But there are a lot of coaches out there too that are also it's my way or the highway, or I don't want to deal with you. And I can say that from experience because when I was going through all the autoimmune and health issues that I was having, especially when before I even knew there was an actual reason that none of them could help me with when I had an implant that was split in half.
Mhm.
Um, I felt like that with many of the people I spoke with. It was like I was neurotic and didn't know, questions I'd be asking. I had no right to be asking, and just didn't leave a very good taste in my mouth as a coaching experience I'd want to see for anybody.
Sure, 100%. I'm not going to downplay that because you're right. There are some coaches that you even ask a question and they come back with just terror, right? Their ego cannot handle being questioned because they are insecure with their coaching, or they want to gaslight you and they want to make you sick and then sell you the cure type of deal. That is always going to happen, which is why the interview process and asking athletes how they feel with this coach is so important when you're doing like your coaching homework. And like if you inquire with me, I send you my intake form. I send you my current clients and past clients that have worked with me so you can ask them questions and see what it's like to work with me. And I think that transparency is really important.
Yep.
But that again is also on you to do your homework about coaching. And then if you are feeling like you are asking questions or expressing concerns and your coach is not listening, fire them. Like, fire them so fucking quickly because it is your money and time that is being wasted. And there are plenty of amazing fucking coaches that will get results, that will work with you, that will collaborate, that will listen, that will care for you. But you have to have the courage enough to want better for yourself and say, fuck that, I'm done.
That's the most successful coaching experiences that both the coach and the client could possibly have unanimously is being able to collaborate with one another. Because I'm not in your head, I'm not in your body, I can't feel how you're feeling. The better the
Exactly.
communication, the better I can help you. And honestly, you want them to enjoy the process,
Mhm.
regardless if it's a health phase or a growing phase or a competition, like whatever. It shouldn't be miserable regardless.
Exactly. And that's not saying that like everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows because like your coach is supposed to push you, right? But they're supposed to push you in the way that you need to be pushed. And yes, your coaching is very collaborative. It is important that a client communicates, but with that communication, it's also not a wish list. Like we're not Santa Claus.
Hmm.
And it's important to understand that because like if what you were doing was already working, you wouldn't be working with us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you also have to understand that your way was maybe not as optimal or effective as it could be. Else, why are you here with
Yep.
us, right? So you also have to be willing to change. So a lot of that is the psychological stuff that inner work needs to be done, but then also the confidence in communicating because it's one thing to be uncomfortable, like in a contest prep, hunger, lethargy, no fucking shit. It's another thing to actively be in pain. Let's say you're taking a supplement that is causing a bad reaction. If you don't speak up, we don't know. We can't fix. We can't help. We can't adjust. Right? So there's a difference between being whiny and complaining versus like, hey, red alert, like this does not feel right.
Yep. Totally.
Hmm.
Ah,
Yeah.
there's something I was just gonna say, and I just lost it. God
Dude, I
damn
saw it. Like I saw it like
it.
eyes, and then like I saw you
Mm.
get pissed.
Okay, okay. And it came back to me. We got it.
Thank
And
God.
so this is something I've run into like two or three times lately of current clients of mine, kind of doing X, Y, and Z on their own that they want to do that's not part of what I'm creating for them, which is fine. But you cannot then go to your coach and ask them to troubleshoot the programming or whatever the case may be, diet, whatever that they didn't assign to you for what they felt was going to be best for what they're trying to help you accomplish.
Let
I,
go.
hey coach, my legs are feeling really tired. I don't feel like I can recover from my training, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, I've seen several times lately that you're doing training more days than I'm asking, doing additional exercises, going 25,000 steps per day. This is why you're not recovering.
Yeah, like
I
legit.
can't change that.
No, that's so good. And again, a lot of that is like it's it's good that your client said that because how I would address that is like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You're doing all these things. So on the client's end, it's lack of awareness. It's not understanding. So that's like a
We have
huge
that
educational
conversation.
piece. And like I know you know that, but for the listeners, it's like,
Yep.
oh, I'm not recovering. Okay. Are you doing what you should be doing then? Are you eating? Are you like actually taking time to sit on your ass and relax? Or are you all the way around 30,000 steps and then wanting to look like a fucking centaur? Because I'm sorry, if you're like wanting to do bikini wellness, volume wise on your legs is going to be a lot fucking higher. But if you're being a hot mess express because you can't sit down because you have an exercise addiction or because your anxiety is so loud in your brain that you can't fucking sit still, your problem is not your training. Your problem is up here, which needs to be addressed. But as coaches, all we can do is point you to better help or refer you to a therapist that we know, or maybe work with ourselves. But like there is again a underlying problem that's not with our programming, but it first starts with again wanting to change and then being confident enough to communicate. And like I get that, people listening to us, like they trust us three girls, right? Because we are very open and honest. We talk about the hard shit. We talk about the shit no one else wants to talk about. But I do get sometimes people like wanting to like ask me anonymously on Q&As, like, hey, how do I communicate with my coach? I don't know. Unless I'm your coach, I don't know how to communicate with your coach because I'm not them. I can tell you I know how to communicate with my coach. I know how to communicate with my clients. I know how to communicate with my friends. I know how to communicate with my husband. Why? Time, troubleshooting.
Mm.
We figured it out. But we built a relationship no matter wherever you spin it. The reason I know how to talk to Laura because Laura's one of my best friends, but I didn't talk to Laura how I would talk to her like we're doing now, or even like, behind closed doors, like when I first met the bitch. Like, dude, our communication was just kind of like I remember the first time I reached out to her, I was scared shitless because I was mentoring with Jeff. Jeff sent me some shit that was just overwhelming. It wasn't like bad, it was just overwhelming because I was new to his mentorship. And I was like, how do I talk to Jeff? And she was like, you need to talk to him. And I was like, but he's scary. And I spent 3 grand on a mentorship that I was scared to talk to him because I was a fear of respect, but it was just fear because I lacked confidence. So I went to Laura because Laura was less scary because I'm just a girl. And she was like, you need to talk to Jeff. But like that was like literally the first fucking engagement that I had with you. So it's like again, there was issues on my end, but also you seemed a lot more inviting just because of your personality. But now, like again, when we're talking on the phone about life and stuff, like it's just authentic because we have built each other up. We have loved on one another. We have shown that we are invested in the other person and it's reciprocated. That's the same thing with coaching, but it has to be built. So you get to build that with your coach. But if your coach isn't giving you what you need in terms of communication style, then kind of like with dating, you might need to consider a different option. You might consider that this isn't the coach for you. Not that they're a piece of shit, not that you hate them. Maybe they are a piece of shit. Maybe you do hate them, but still decide that. Don't be talking shit about them behind their back, but still paying them because nothing's going to happen there. You're just going to get resentful as shit. Sever the communication, sever the contract, whatever, move on.
The biggest importance you said there was time, having those relationships that developed over time. I've had clients that I've run into roadblocks with that were, gut cases or whatever. And then after working with them for 6 months, they tell me that one of their parents has cancer. And that's what's, really eating at them and they're having a hard time with. And you can't control how your body reacts to things. Some of that, I can't fix. And that's again, like you said, when you start saying, okay, so we need to loop some professional mental health assistance into this so we can work collaboratively together. But you're not going to open up to somebody that you just met on the first day and say, hey, by the way, trauma bomb. You're not going to do that unless you're that far gone. Maybe you will, but most people are not comfortable doing that.
Exactly. So it's like at the end of the day, like when you are working with a coach or you decide to hire a coach or you're thinking about hiring a coach, yes, you need to think about their professionalism, their expertise, their success stories. But then you also need to consider the personality match. Do you like how they present their content? Do you like listening to them on podcasts? When you reach out and talk to their clients, do their clients feel heard and understood?
Mhm.
Don't just reach out to one or two, especially like the ones that have huge transformations with physiques. Also ask about the non-transformations in terms of their body, like about like the period wins, the digestion wins, because while yes, like we are physique coaches, I don't just work with bodybuilders. I work with lifestyle. I work with functional health. Laura, I know you do the same. I know Megs does the same. But at the end of the day, ask a wide variety of population because you can ask any client that I work with now, whether they're wanting to, be an IFBB pro further down the line or whether they just want to feel healthy for their son. They get the same amount of attention because they are paying to work with me. I don't nickel and dime my services. When you work with me, you work with me, and I work with you. And yes, I have a team dynamic. Yes, we're very supportive. But at the end of the day, it's you and me communicating for your benefit. And I hope to God you're not working with a coach just for the coach's benefit. Because, like, that's not going to work.
You see that too, social media followings, who's connected to
Hmm.
what judge, who's connected to what like sponsoring of shows and all of that type of bullshit.
Yep.
It's just not worth it. And like you said, I would say some of my most favorite transformations with clients are not visible ones to the exterior. It's, like you said, regaining the period, being able to assist them with getting pregnant, no longer feeling embarrassed every time they eat that they don't want to be around people because they have such bad digestive issues. Like those are like life-changing issues.
I agree. Like every transformation that I have had, whether it was a physical like manifestation, like a physique goal, or like a functional win, if you will, like what I love about them is the confidence. The confidence that you see that you
Posted
helped
in my
your
life.
athlete or
Yeah.
client, right? Like that right there gives me the warm and fuzzies because it's like my goal as a coach is to pull the best out of you. It's not to beat out the bad. Because chances are I attract more of the type A, high functioning anxiety, OCD cases, because that's who I am, right? And if I can go from a crazy to like somewhat level headed, somewhat,
Don't get carried away. Pump the brakes.
somewhat. But seriously, if I can go from like getting 30,000 steps to like being okay to watch Mufasa and just sit on my fat happy ass with like no panic attacks, like anyone can because I'm no different than anyone else. But like I said, like chances are if you are wanting to like work with a coach, you probably already do such a great job beating yourself up. Like you probably get an A fucking plus for being such a dick to yourself. You don't need a coach that's going to be an even harsher dick. It's not saying that you need a fairy princess coach. You need a coach that's going to be level headed to give you perspective, to show you the other side of the coin. That way you can start making progress. Because if you're already down and I start kicking you, you're never going to stand the fuck up. But if you're down because you're down, a good coach is going to give you a fucking hand to pick you up. Doesn't say that they're going to do the heavy lifting. You're going to be the one doing the work. But if they believe in you and they help you and give you the right plan and provide you the right support, and you listen and you let go of the demons and the torment and you work on yourself mentally and physically and you buy in, you have nowhere else to go up. But it's the clients that get in their own way that just take comfort in being like in the dirt, that those will have the hardest ones. But when you get them to decide that being in the dirt fucking sucks and then you start seeing them win, like as a coach, that's the most fucking gratifying thing. Because I mean, you and I both have been there. We've both been in the dirt, been loving in the dirt. We're making mud pies. I'm like, oh, this is great. It's a shit sandwich. And we're like, losing hair, not having periods. Like we look like we're a fucking Halloween decoration. This is great. And then you're just like, nah, there's got to be a better way. And there is a better way.
Somebody actually asked me that the other day. They're like, "So how did you break the like cycle of having anorexia episodes?" And I was like, "I finally got sick of feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Literally did not want to live like that anymore, and you have no choice but to move forward and do differently." And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's the case for many people in different scenarios that apply. But you hit that rock bottom of like, I have no choice but to go forward and get out of rock bottom.
Yeah. It's like, the common saying, the bill comes due. Like the bill doesn't have to be just a physical health. It can be a mental health. It can be so many things. Like you and I, when we had the Lala and Ash episode 2 weeks ago, it's like when I had my little breakdown on over the internet where I cried. I'm sorry, Julia, I let you down. I cried on the internet. But it was something where there was nowhere else to go. Like, I mean, if suicide was literally my only option outside of like, getting better, I was like, okay, well, I clearly need to get better. So it's one of those things where it's like, don't push yourself into the dirt for so long that you feel like there's no way out, especially if you're with a coach or you're doing something that really doesn't align with you. I do think a lot of people push themselves into a box that they have no business pushing themselves into because they lack awareness and context on their end. Not everyone needs to be a competitive bodybuilder, but almost everyone can benefit from the things that bodybuilders do, bringing awareness to the nutrition, taking care of their body when it comes to training, mobility, stretching, drinking water, sleeping, having boundaries that encourage a healthy lifestyle. Like these things are not like outlandish, but it's when you get that competitive itch to want to push your body to the point of growing muscle or, getting so shredded to where it's like you have ass lines. It's like, when the lines get blurred due to that like addictive personality, that's where it's really important to make sure you're doing this for the right reasons so you don't like lose yourself in the sauce.
Even for those that are competitors. And honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I know that whether it's a permanent decision or for a little while trying to embark and having a family, as we've discussed a lot, like what do I want that to look like as opposed to the present day of how I go about life now. And honestly, not a whole lot is going to change because I don't do this because of the stage. I do it because I love it. I love eating well and feeling good. I love going to the gym and training because I fucking love training. That's not going to change. I don't need to get on stage and drop 20 pounds to feel good doing that. And that should be the mentality that anybody has when they get into this type of journey is like, what will I enjoy doing forever? And
Exactly.
how do I want that to look? Not to how much can I torture myself because I want to look good for, one day and take some photos. That's fucking ridiculous.
Exactly. When you stop like shitting yourself, shoulding, not shitting. Also stop shitting yourself. But when you stop shitting yourself, like I should do this because of an expectation that does not align with you, like that is freedom. So it's like in my case, why did I not pick a show? I want to enjoy this prep and finally do it fucking right because my first prep was a fucking disaster with my mental health, with how I treated my body, with how I treated my friends, with how I treated my husband. That was such a
Oh, hell no.
dude, it was such a fucking clusterfuck that looking back on it, I'm like, Ashley Markham, shame on you. But I now get a chance to show myself and show other people who follow along this is how to do it properly. Because yes, things are challenging during prep. I'm not saying that everything is unicorn farts and ladybug queefs, but at the end of the day, like,
Okay.
okay. But as far as like relationships suffering, fuck that. If you cannot handle your emotions or communicate effectively and your relationships tank because you're a monster, it's not bodybuilding's fault. It's your fault. So it's like I continually make sure that my relationships are in a good spot. I ask my friends, and Laura can attest to this. How can I love on you today? How many times have I asked you that?
Oh God, a lot. I remember it really stuck with me. I remember Shelby Starnes actually making this post a long time ago,
Mhm.
being like, if you won a bodybuilding competition, congratulations for you. If you ruined every relationship and were a miserable person to everybody in the process, you won nothing.
Yeah,
And
that's
he's right.
good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So it's like it's one of those things where you need to be an adult too. Like you have to have
Yeah.
ownership and accountability for your actions, both like as an athlete of the sport, but like just as a person in general, because at the end of the day, like this is your life and you impact other people around you. And that's something that I'm really passionate about with my own clients is like making sure you're impacting your community in a better way. Because if you're treating yourself poorly, chances are you're treating other people poorly, which is not a good look. It's not a good look on you. It's not a good look for your family. It's not a good look for like me coaching you. So it's like all coaching starts up here before any other physical manifestation can happen, whether it's physique, health, digestion, period, thyroid, whatever. It is so important that up here is addressed first. So that way you can let go of toxic habits holding you back so you can create new habits that will propel you forward.
For sure. And I know that this conversation wasn't solely focused towards competing in bodybuilding and all of that, but I will say after having, preps in the past that were to avoid life, and then my most recent prep I did, which is wow, this August will already be 2 years, over 2 years, 3 years. Fuck, I lost track of time at this point.
Two.
But yeah, yeah, 2 years, August.
Yeah.
Um, that was granted, obviously I was a little bit leaner than I needed to be, but like the smoothest, like I remember saying to Josh, being like, I feel guilty. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't feel like I'm in prep. Like granted, it's hard. I'm doing the cardio, I'm dieting, whatever, I'm tired, whatever. But like I'm enjoying everything. I'm not fucking everybody's relationships up. I'm still communicating with friends. I'm going to work. I'm keeping up with all the things I need to do. I just feel like it's just a part of the routine. And like
It should
that's
be.
no shit, because every other prep I've done is like everything feels traumatic. Everything, you know what I mean? Like even this like stupid little things, like everything was just so over the top because like mentally I wasn't in a good place. And
Exactly.
that was my
And
like a
also, yeah, and also you brought a better physique to stage. And it's like, again, bodybuilding is hard. There are things that you will quote unquote suffer for, but that holds true of anything in life. It's worth noting what's important to suffer for. You can have a really hard time in a marriage, and it's like you both got to put in the work. Technically, you're suffering, but it's something worth suffering for. Something about like going to school for higher education. You're spending a lot of money. It's really grueling. Maybe there's a certain course or a professor that like you're having a really hard time with. That's a level of suffering. It's worth suffering for to get that degree or to get maybe a job promotion with that degree. Everything in life that you do has a suffering component. The What's important to understand is suffering for the right stuff and to stop suffering needlessly. In Laura's case, yeah, it was prep. It was still going to be hard, but her other preps were such a fucking disaster because her brain was scrambled eggs and everything around her was toxic. Versus 2 years ago, again, things were still hard, but she was still contributing to something that meant something to her by keeping up with the relationships that fulfilled her, by working with jobs that gave her purpose, with working with clients and individuals that gave her meaning and gave her drive and passion. She wasn't so worried about just gassing herself out in every avenue. She was working on fulfillment, which is why it was easy in respect, but so much more rewarding and gratifying.
I remember in the past always not even caring about the show I was doing, but just trying to figure out what one I was doing after. And like this was the
Mm,
first time ever that I was just like, nope, one and done. I saw that like I could be in this category, which is what I needed to accomplish. I know I need a fuck ton more time because I am way too small to be competitive at like a more even competitive show, not even national level. And I'm not there now. So doing another show is just gonna uselessly beat my body. I'm done.
yep.
I never would have done that in the past.
I agree. And obviously that's like the important thing is like focusing on the right stuff and caring about the right stuff.
Yep. That's some growth.
Agreed. That's the best growth. All right, before we get into gratitudes, do you have any funny questions?
Hmm. Have you started getting into I've had weird food craving phases of trying to make weird combinations in
No, I'm
prep.
still too fat for that. That is like an inverse relationship between the amount of body fat you have, because then that starts to impact your mental sanity. So it's like the leaner you are, the more your mental health like starts to get like hairy. So then you're like, you know what sounds good? Like mustard and cottage cheese. Like, like the weirdest fucking shit. But no, we're not even close to that yet.
Got it. Cruising.
We're cruising. That's right. I have funny questions for you.
Bring it.
Which color has the worst personality?
I want to say gray because I feel like gray is kind of like sad, dreary. I like gray. It's my favorite color to wear, but like I think of gray and like sad. I don't know.
Yeah. I answered pastel yellow because that tells me that you're timid, and I don't vibe with that. Like it's one thing to be humble, it's another thing to be timid. And like I don't fuck with
Yeah, I think like happiness and spring and like things coming alive.
but it's the personality. right? They've if like I think of like Easter yellow. It's like, yeah, okay, I think of spring and daffodils coming alive. But if I'm thinking of like if I'm going to like Lowe's and looking at yellow Sherman Williams, I'm like, that's a little bitch. I love it. Okay,
Is
what?
you know what? It's indecisive. It's the person that's having a
Yes.
baby that doesn't want to know the sex. Like everything's yellow. Come
Yes.
on.
Yes. Exactly. So you get it. You get
My
it.
anxiety ass could never handle that. Ever. Like, tell me right now.
You're like, I need to know. All right, if you were gonna change yourself into a food, what would it be?
Ice cream.
What flavor?
Oreo.
In a bowl or a cone?
Waffle cone.
Good answer. Good answer. Mine would be an Auntie Anne's pretzel.
Okay.
I don't care if you want me to be salty or cinnamon sugar. I'm here for you.
I've
Auntie's
never had
got
a
me.
cinnamon sugar pretzel, so we're going with salty.
Yeah, so like during
That
my
sounds good though.
in my obesity years, right? Like Auntie Anne's, I was a whore for Auntie Anne. So it's like depending upon if I was in a salty mood or a sweet mood, it's like if I did the regular, it would just be like the regular salted pretzel with mustard. Like you can't fuck that up. It's like you got the zing and the zang. I was here for that. But if I was like in a sweet mood, I would do the cinnamon sugar and then get the cream cheese dip. And that was like that was a lot. It was kind of like a cinnamon bun, right? Yeah.
See, I would have said they have like cinnamon sugar with salt. The mustard I don't need, but just like the pretzel itself, I'm a whore for sweet and salty combined.
Mm, I feel that. I feel that. If I was really having like a gross day, it probably would have been like cinnamon sugar and caramel because that's a lot. It's a lot of sweetness. I know. I was fat, Laura. I didn't know any better.
I know even when I was a kid and like didn't have a care in the world in regards to nutrition, I've never liked like jelly or like really, really sweet like caramel, like
Dude,
not
I
my
just
frosting.
I
Food
wanted
different.
everything. I didn't give a fuck. I wanted it all. All right, gratitudes. What are you thankful for?
I'm grateful for my family.
Mm,
It's nice to kind of see them all. Granted, it wasn't for the greatest event, but at least like kind of coming together.
yeah. The flowers that I sent your mom, did they actually look good or were they
Oh
ass?
yeah, no, they look great.
Oh,
And she was like, who is this? That's so sweet. And it
who
was
is
so nice.
that?
It was so nice.
Be like,
Thank you
my
so
mom,
much.
she's a Gentile.
Like kind of offended though. I was like, don't you watch my podcast? Like
Hi, mommy Laura. No, like legit. It's like I always get so like paranoid with flower delivery because like they look super nice on the website, but like they're not like Amazon employees where they like send you proof. So it's like, did
Mhm.
I just send this money into like the ether and then like the flowers look like butthole, or do they actually look good?
Yeah. That honestly, I felt like that sending them to you and Meg too. And of course, I didn't realize I sent them to her old apartment. So I had said to her, I was like, I thought it was kind of weird because you were like in our chat, oh, thank you for the flowers. I'm like, flower, I gotta tell her so she doesn't think I only like Ashley. So I was like, I sent them to you too.
But you do. No, flowers were so sweet. Moving forward, here's what I will ask though. I love that you want to love on me. Getting me flowers is one of the sweetest gifts, but I have cats, and
Ah.
cats are dumb. They like to eat shit that will kill them. So I and Eric, we have,
Edible arrangements, I got it.
I mean, like legit, like even if you got me, I don't even know, but like anything but flowers
Well,
that
this is
are
the thing. I can't get you chocolate. I can't get you an edible arrangement. So I was like, anything that's
Eric's like,
sweet.
Eric's in the background, like,
Yes, you can.
he's like, hi Laura, I like double arrangements. You can get me booty shorts. That's the gift that keeps on giving, Laura.
Mm,
Like
okay.
peachy butts. Yeah, no, but like the cats are just like, I want to eat this. And so we're like getting the spray bottle, just like like you dumb bitch. But
She got
this is
one of those
actually
for
kind
the
of
dumb
fun.
ones.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate you. That was really nice to receive flowers. I haven't received flowers in a really long time, so it's nice.
Oh, glad you
And
like them.
and don't come at me for Eric doesn't get you flowers. No, for the said reason we have cats. Like I told him, don't get me flowers because if I have a dead cat or if I have to give them like kidney treatments because their kidneys will fail essentially, like, oh, I'm gonna be so pissed. Like I don't even like my injections. I don't want to have to
Medical
inject a
expense.
fucking cat.
Yeah, no. Oh, you'd have to do it yourself?
Probably, yeah.
Anytime we need to give like shots to Max or whatever for allergies, they do it at the vet.
Well, it
I,
depends if they're her if her like if her or his kidneys failed, the injection frequency would be
mm,
so much that it would have to be like administered at home because it wouldn't be
got it.
cost effective.
Let's not kill anything else.
I know. So we'll end it with sourdough.
All
Oops.
right.
I'm
Onward
grateful
to
for my friend Laura, and I'm grateful that we have been doing this is episode number 70. 70 episodes.
wow. God damn. Hmm. I was thinking about that the other day. Look at what we all looked like towards the beginning of it to like now, like that's changed a lot too, just from like that much time. I was like,
Dude, I looked back on some of those podcasts. I was like, she looked like she had like cancer. Like it's
oh
just
yeah.
like you were so sunken in. I was like, dude. And then I
Yeah.
was like, I can't wait to look like that.
I'm gonna go with in the future, I probably don't need T3.
Yeah, probably not. Like
No.
your
Mm.
thyroid was like, am I not good enough for you?
Bitch, you're already skinny naturally. What are you doing? Yeah.
Your thyroid was like, fuck you. All right, girlie. I love you. I'm thankful for you, and we'll catch you next week.
Love you as well.
Bye.
Enjoy.